I want to share. My regard, Prince of Peace, everlasting Father, my regard, Prince of Peace, everlasting Father, thank you because of what you are about to show us. Be glorified for awesome intelligence. It shall be said here on earth and in heaven that we didn't touch your glory. We didn't touch your glory. Your glory belongs to you, King of Zion, forever. As evil diminishes, is crushed through this vehicle of your word, let the head of Zion be lifted up. Give us new destinies. And then Nam be our God. Thank you because I have struggled to keep communicating to the people what you ask me to tell them. Thank you for enablement. Be glorified in Jesus' mighty name. Now sit down. Let me ask you to listen. Every humanity is meant to be lost. Every humanity. Every humanity is meant to be lost. Please listen to me. What matters? Some people don't know that they will lose their humanity. They say, I don't want to die. Listen, everyone on earth will lose his flesh. What matters is whether you will live forever or not is controlled by what took your flesh. by the only person that shared this on earth was Yeshua. Since Yeshua, this I'm sharing has not been shared. I am the last that will share it on earth. That flesh you have now, you will lose it. It's meant to be lost. Now, what matters is who you gave it to, or what you gave it to. Do you know why God wanted to be lost? Because it is associated with pain. But what I'm interpreting cannot be said without messianism. So it is not a literal interpretation of the Bible. It's a revelation that is meant for one altar on earth. And after this altar, this scripture will no longer be interpreted again by another group. And I would like you to hear me. Because if Apostle Paul interpreted it, he wouldn't die. If you look at the Apostle Paul's writing in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, 1, beautiful scripture of what Apostle Paul said. He said, for we know our earthly house of this tabernacle. Now, the earthly house of this tabernacle is your body. Then the Bible said, will be dissolved. And then he said, we have a building of God.
An house not made with hands.
Eternal.
In the heavens.
There are two houses there. The one you will sow, and the one you will harvest. %, no, not 98, 99% of Christians believe that this thing will happen is heaven. No, it's not heaven. This thing will not happen in heaven. It's activity of the earth. This thing is not death. It's not physical death. This thing is transformation. That you're going to go through a process of sowing your body to receive an eternal body that can die. No, you will not do it in heaven. You will do it here. A body that cannot die is a body that can be sick. It's not in heaven. I'm already on it. I'm already on this thing. Dissolving this body. You know, when I started having like fatigue, the Lord said to me, he said, this is step 1 to cross over into rebirth. He said, go and learn from ego. The spirit of immortality is the angel that raised Jesus from the grave. It's the same experience. The Lord told me in vision. That night I said that he was with me for 6 hours. He was with me for about 6 hours. He came to me, he said to me, he said, if you didn't put on divine nature in your body, he said, you will be like a 1 grain of seed. 1 grain. He said, but when you sow yourself after transformation, you will multiply. He said, Jesus sowed 1 and took over 2 billion Christians. Then he told me something I want to tell you before I read Bible. He said the greatest activity of Satan on earth is to allow men to protect something that cannot multiply. There are people that value they are busy protecting, cannot multiply. John chapter 12, 24 and 25. They are busy protecting values that can't multiply. That is why stinginess is an evil. When we said, let us do evangelism today, let us do follow up, somebody doesn't have anything he's doing, but he's wandering around. his life is highly devalued. Don't you know that it is senselessness that make people busy without doing anything? From morning to evening, that girl is with phone. The other day we were coming from the house, and a car was parked inside, and I saw that the girl that was inside it was highly absorbed. I said, was highly absorbed. So my first looking, I said, why would this girl? Why would this girl be so sick? Why would this girl be so sick that is lying this way? Is lying. But when our car got close, I discovered that girl was not sick. That girl was so soaked that whatever she was doing in the phone, that up to the level that she now looked like somebody who is in coma. I said, so phone has power to commoditize people. This small girl was commoditized in that car by phone. I look at the phone, I look at the girl, I say, white people, it will not be well with you. Whosoever that commoditized this small girl with the activity of the phone, it will not be well with that person. Phone is good and bad, but the good part of it, Nigeria cannot take much from it. They are not taking much from the bad part of that phone. Oh, you don't know that some people cannot keep their phone down? Cannot. John 12:24-25. Very, very I say unto you, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die,
it abideth alone.
But if it dies,
it bringeth forth much fruit.
Now, the idea is not even because I just read a new song on when the corn of wheat is fall into the ground. It's our next song. I finished writing it. When save the corn of wheat is a beautiful song. Yes, it's like high praise or jazz. It is not even the corn of wheat falling and dying. It is about the state of the wheat before the planting. Listen, if I want to know your destiny, I will know what you're sowing. If I want to know your destiny, I will know what you are sowing, because it is what you're sowing that should bear fruit. Being alive is not as important as dying. Sow your life. If you look at 25 there, he said, for whosoever that love his life shall lose it.
And he that hated his life in this world shall give it unto life eternal.
Please, when the Bible says hate your life, this is not a religious statement. It is about, I said, it is only through sowing that gods can multiply. Why they are gods is because they understand sowing themselves. Remember that Moses had to sow himself before he can be a god. No, he didn't sow his son. He didn't sow a car. He didn't sow money. He sowed himself. There's a difference between sowing yourself and sowing things. The highest form of sowing is sowing yourself. Why God furthered from Abraham? Because Abraham didn't sow himself, he sowed Isaac. So he died. Immortality. It is not possible to be immortal when you give God anything less than yourself. Because whatever that is not given to God, he can't protect. Let me say again. I say whatever that is not given to God, God will not protect. So did he protect John the Baptist from death? In the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15, Apostle Paul was talking about different kind of sowings. Peace to Apostle Paul, great servant. Somebody read from verse 42. So also in the resurrection of the dead, it shall be
sown in corruption, it is raised in incorruption.
The Bible, look at, I said the word the resurrection is synonymous to immortality. That's why Jesus said in John 12, he said, I am resurrection and I am life. So he said, so also is the resurrection of the dead. He said, because before there is putting on of incorruption, corruption should be sown. Corruption should, you have to sow corruption to take incorruption. For the three, you have to sow honor. You have to sow dishonor. To be raised in glory, you have to sow weakness. To be raised in power. But there is something I want you to see. In 44 and 45,
it is sown in natural.
Excuse me, if you don't sow your natural body, you cannot raise the spiritual body. So immortality involves sowing of natural body. Now, there are some people that they don't do anything because they believe it's inconveniencing. We don't want to go to night vigil because you see, we came to work late. Excuse me, if sickness meets your body cold, you won't care about where you're working. If evil meets somebody's body cold, evil will not care about where you're working. It will not care about what kept you busy. Any man that must not see death must sow natural body. To reap, to harvest a body that must not be intimidated. A body that must not be subject to death. It has to be sown. He has to sow it. He has to sow it. He has to sow it. When I discovered it, I started sowing my body. I started saying, Lord, I am going to have a body that will not be subjected to caricature. I'm going to have such a body. I am going to have a body that will not be sick. I am going to produce a spiritual body that must not see death. And then the Bible says something. He said, there is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. If this earthly house of this tabernacle had dissolved. Do you know something? You can see what I've been doing since over 3 hours. Huh? Those teachings I'm teaching are teachings of immortality that bring men to the realm of God. It's not everyday gospel. It came from so much of pain, because that is almost the last gospel. What I'm teaching is in the realm of rapture. The Bible says in 45, he said, as so it is written, that the first Adam was made a living soul, and the last Adam
was made a quickening spirit.
It was made. Excuse me. I am going to stop now on sharing this, and I have one more thing to share. Listen. If you enter into any compound, anywhere, a family, it will not be difficult for you to know their degree of sowing. It is through sowing we win. If you want God to win battles for you, the type of battle God wins for you is controlled by what you gave him. When you enter into a family, you will know, when you enter into a family, you will know the value of family members from the nature of that family. When you enter into a village, you will see the nature of that village from how the village is. The village represents the inhabitants. If the village is not developed, then it is because men and women of value are not there. And why they are not valuable is because they are not sacrificial. Let me ask you a question. How do you think that the Galilee campground and this place will look like in 10, 15 years? What do you think that will happen by this time next year when we have zinc the building in Galilee and you're driving for the main road, the cathedral? Or you think that what I'm here to do is to eat ofonubu? How do you think that local army will look like in another 15 years if I am shepherd in front? It's a plan. The plan is kept. Between now and 20 years, there's no comfort. The earth will shake to the root. Oh! Nobody will lack what he needs. The God of life and immortality, he will rise, a miracle worker. Satopataya Shakatala. I say he will rise, the divine omnipotence who made all things. He will go to where he kept God and bring out the worthy people. Because Adam, who is a living soul, shall turn into a quickening spirit. Because there will be multiplication of both men and things. Listen, wherever there is continuous sowing, there will be continuous increase in glory. The only thing that will finish is what is not sown to God. People that you should fear for are people who are ignorant of the value of how God gods multiply. Now, please let me ask you, listen. In chapter 10:30 of the book of John, why Jesus was able to produce 2 billion people for God was because of his equality with God through transformation. How many times will people be looking at me and they will not copy things they are saying? How many times? Is there no law on earth? Somebody is looking at me. I'm asking you a question. Is there not a law on earth that you should look at? I told you about how a Chinese girl was poised to conquer that Africa, to beat that Nigerian girl in Taekwondo. Is there not ability Joseph had to be prime minister? Is there not something that I have saved that gave me the audacity to preach immortality? Is there not a transformation I have gone through? Am I really talking by faith or by what is achieved through calculative devotion and intelligence? Are we really bold for nothing? Is our boldness not producing evidence? How can I lack it? Excuse me. Don't look for a prophet. Interpret your destiny from your interpretation and from your transformation and seed. Don't look for somebody to interpret you. Let me say it to somebody again. I said, don't look for somebody to interpret you. The person might give you false interpretation of yourself. So men that control things for God, first of all, became gods through multiplication. You know, when you say a god, you're talking about a multiplied personality. Eh? 7:1. Let me explain to you what is called multiplication. That transformation multiplies gods. 7:1. And the Lord said to Moses, see, I made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. Now, please, let me give you this understanding. If Moses is a god and is in the firmament, it means that any other thing God created is under the control of Moses. That's multiplication. He is the head of principalities and powers in Colossians. Because he is completely God and completely man. Is it possible for somebody to be given charge over important things without light? Excuse me. When God discovered where I came from, where I came from, he moved me from being shepherd of locust army and made me the head of life and immortality. When it was not enough for him, he made me shepherd of mankind. There is one more shepherd that is remaining, not even mankind. It's not in mankind that is stopping. Is it because I have to be shepherd of something else? I don't know what that is, to be able to enable me to control spirits. Because shepherd of mankind is not where I'm stopping. Don't forget that I started with shepherd of locust army, is he not? And then he moved me to mankind. It's not ending in mankind. Because mankind have not included spirits. Somebody, I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. You're just thinking that I like boldness. That's what you're thinking now. That's how I like being bold. It's not boldness, it's just the truth. Somebody said that's boldness. Like, that man life, don't mind him, just like boldness. But we don't shame at the once again. Mankind is not enough for him. Church, it's not mankind, it's something more serious. Head of life and immortality is not perfect. That must be something. I want to do some prophecy and prayer, because the night part of this program is about to end, and tomorrow here is a brief service combined. The Lord came to me in that same vision, and he brought me into somewhere just to transform me. When I was trying to complain, he said, no. I want to bring you to a higher dimension of dominion by bringing you here. So all things work for good. Let me explain something to somebody. If you are important to God, He must take you through a refiner fire. That's just the truth. To take away fatness. He must take away fatness from you. He must give you what is called regular experience that make divine. Regular fire experience. There cannot be divinity without regular fire experience. And it is in that regular fire experience that you are protected. When God subjects you to fire, He keeps off enemies. Let me say again. I say when God subjects men to fire, He keeps away enemies. So if enemies must be kept away, somebody must be brought in the midst of fire. And then if God must be sustained around you, God is sustained in the midst of fire. So, under the power of sacrifice, which is my last, the power of sacrifice, the Lord came to me and said, He said, since January till August. I said, yes, Lord. He said, how many times have you asked the people to give me something important to them that is audible? He asked me that audibly. That is, I had it with my ear, physical ear. So I said to him, I said, I don't want to worry the people. So the Lord said to me, He said, under the principle of harvest, He said, does men reap something they have not sown? I was looking at him. Then he said, can you sow for them? I was still looking at him. He said, you can't sow for them. And that's what you're trying to do. He said, people cannot stay 6 months without making a tangible sacrifice to me. He said, go tell the people. He said, those who don't make sacrifice to me are powerless people.